The name of the author is Benjamin Zephaniah, and he wrote a book called Refugee Boy. Have any of you read it? You've read it? Do you know the author, Benjamin Zephaniah? Okay, so I'll tell you a little bit about the author. He's actually a Jamaican author. He's originally from Jamaica, and he left Jamaica when he was a young boy, and he came as a refugee to Britain because his living conditions in Jamaica was not very good. And after coming here, he wrote the book Refugee Boy, which is the theme of the book is about refugees, refugee studies. So have any of you heard any news about refugees or people who are forced to move? Would you like to share about it?
Recently, obviously, I heard about refugees from Ukraine war.
Yeah.
They had a hard time. They had to move out of Ukraine, especially the women and children, to other European countries and the Syrian civil war. There were also millions of refugees from Ukraine. And many died on their way to Europe, sadly, in boat accidents.
Any other?
The Mexican refugees, many of years, still they are fighting for their rights.
Yeah, so this book is exactly about that only. The theme is refugee studies or forced migration. So now in literary circles nowadays we have an entire discipline itself to refugee studies or forced migration studies. So like you said, women and children are the ones who are most affected. So in this book there's a boy whose name is Alan. He is actually half Ethiopian and half Eritrean. Do you know any history about Ethiopia and Eritrea?
Ethiopia, it's kind of like they had a big kingdom, but like after invasion of Italy and the countries became poor and slavery, so many people had to move out of Ethiopia. They were slaves to basically Caribbean places.
Yes, so it's actually these Ethiopia and Eritrea are two countries within Africa itself, and they are like borders, like how we have India and Sri Lanka. India and Sri Lanka is also going through a lot of wars, right? So in the same way, Ethiopia and Eritrea, they have the same border, but it's like Ethiopia wants that particular land, and even Eritrea wants that particular land. Till today also that fight is going on. But this boy Alam, he's half Ethiopian and half Eritrean. So he does not know where he belongs. If he goes to Ethiopia, he's Ethiopian. If he goes to Eritrea, he's Eritrean. So the book begins where in his own house he's in Ethiopia and soldiers come and attack him and his father and mother, and then they say, okay, we'll go to Eritrea. He goes to Eritrea and the same thing happens there. So because of his half origin, he is he suffers wherever he goes, and finally his father takes him to Britain, to England, and he'll try to go over there and start his life, schooling and all of that will happen. But when he goes to England, there also he'll suffer some kind of prejudice. He'll either, because he's black, he'll suffer because he's black, or because he cannot speak English, he'll have to learn. And over there, the situation in Britain is they don't want refugees. They don't want people to come into their land and invade their land because they're saying that they're taking up our space. So in the same way, Alam he undergoes some prejudice because they don't want him in their land, and finally he ends up getting into a good family who adopt and foster him, and his father comes into the land. There's a lot that happens in the book that goes on. Benjamin Zephaniah, it's partly biographical also, because he also as a child he went through the same thing, and finally when this boy joins school, he gets to know more about the world. And his father comes also to England. He gets a chance to stay in England. When his father comes, this boy Alan is very happy because he has his family member now in England. But what happens is somebody kills his father because they get to know that his father is there as a refugee, and his father dies. So when his father dies, he becomes even more sad. And one thing that stands out about this boy Alan is that even though he suffers a lot in his life, like some people when they suffer a lot and they get a lot of hatred from others, they will emote that hatred. They'll say, if you hurt me, I'll hurt you, right? But Alan is not like that. Even though people hurt him in different ways, when he became 16, he said that I want to give back to the country that brought me here and gave me a place to stay. Because you treated me in the right way, now I want to give back to this country. So he'll want to give back to England. So the story ends over there. There is a lot of lot that he goes through. But the story ends when he says that because you have given me this life, now I want to give it back to others like me. And so he'll end up becoming a voice basically for refugees who are like him. So this is just about the book, a review about it.
Discussion time.
What is the I have a question. Is this from his childhood to till he becomes an adult?
Yeah, he starts off as a young boy in Ethiopia, and he comes to England at the age of 6. He doesn't even know how to talk English properly. He knows English, but when you are used to speaking in your own mother tongue. So he comes as a young boy, and then it ends somewhere when he's around 16, basically in high school, trying to figure out his life.
Anybody?
So what, according to you, how can you end this suffering case for the refugees?
How can we end? What do you think? What do all of you all think? How can we end this refugee problem?
Treating everybody equal.
Treating everyone equally. What else?
Then giving opportunities to all the people, not by caste system or religious system or by money. Who gives more money will give seat in colleges they used to do. So by this we can avoid.
There's this refugee problem is there everywhere. We have in Sri Lanka also,
In
Sri Lanka,
Afghanistan.
Afghanistan, Pakistan, and recently Pakistan is going through a lot of wars, so a lot of people from there want to come here.
In Kashmir,
Kashmir, yes,
they
the
are
same
treating
thing.
they want that land belongs to Pakistan, so they treating that Hindu Kashmiri people like that land belongs to us. Why you are here? If you want to be here now, just convert into a Muslim.
Any other question?
I basically think equality is learned from our school days. There's no action taken. Everybody, we don't even treat our friend equal. So how can we promote equality?
I think it depends on each one of us individually. It starts from us, right?
Then you can conclude.
Okay, so the themes in this book is basically, like we already discussed, providing a place for others to stay. We have this problem in Ukraine and Russia, and still many more countries are going through war. Even the recent earthquake that happened in Turkey, people don't have a place to stay, so they'll go out of their own boundaries and they'll search for a place to stay, and then they'll not be accepted, or they'll just be asked to move, or they'll not be offered resources properly. So the themes over here are refugee. The young boy Alan is a young refugee. He's forced to migrate. He does not want to, but he's not given any choice, but he has to. And also killing. His father was killed, his mother was killed. He did not even have the time to process all of that. And it's not like everything was bad in his life. He did have people who were good to him. There was a family who was willing to foster and care for him. There were people who were trying to make life better for him. But in sometimes when the overall system is not right, you can't really do a lot to help the person. So yeah, that's about the book and themes. I'll conclude.
Thank you. A vote of thanks.